Hey everyone, so I've got questions from people saying they don't get enough surveys, they don't get very high paying surveys, and the surveys don't come in frequently enough. So today I'm going to show you how you can unlock as many surveys as you actually can. I've got 5 main points in this video, and 2 of them people really don't talk about very frequently in videos, especially talking about this in regards to prolific. So here are my main tips. First off, this tip everyone talks about, but it's fundamental because you need to do it to get surveys. It is fill your about you section to the brim. Completely answer every single question as truthfully as you can with as much detail as possible. Why is this? Well, this is because Prolific actually uses these to pass to see if you're a suitable candidate for surveys. So you're not going to see the surveys in the studies section that you otherwise would if you had not filled this out. So you need to fill this out to be able to see all of the surveys. That's it. That's very important. But you can see here, mine is not fully filled out. Why is that? Well, Prolific changes this frequently. That is one thing I do not see people talk about enough, is your About You section actually changes. It's not a one-off thing like other people say. You need to stay on top of this. They can change it weekly. And the reason they change it is because survey providers that come and give Prolific new surveys need to screen and find out if people are suitable for their new surveys because they need a specific demographic. So if you stay on top of this, it means you're more likely to get the surveys before other people change their About You section and get access to those surveys, meaning that you'll get the ability to complete the survey and not lose out on the chance. Because if you update your About You section too slowly, the surveys that are related to those updates won't come in time, and they'll be all done before you have had the opportunity to change your About You. So stay on top of your About You. Now, the more you fill out, the more surveys you'll be able to get, and the more lucrative surveys you'll be able to get. Because the more niche you are, the more complicated you are, how complicated your, living situation is, how much money you earn, your health situation, your health history, gives you access to more lucrative and higher paying surveys. So I know I've had a complicated health history in my life, and this has given me the ability to access much higher paying surveys about my health history. It's also important to fill out your About You because you'll be screened out of surveys less. Something that can happen in Prolific is you click on a survey, but you find out it's not really about you, and you have to return the survey and you don't get paid. That's a massive waste of time, and you could be using that time to earn money by doing surveys or doing other things that are important to you. The next thing that's important for me to say is that you need to keep in mind where you live and update if you move, because where you live may be a significant factor as to how much you're getting paid and what surveys you're getting access to. And keep in mind, the exchange rate will differ. So they pay in Great British Pounds, and Great British Pounds can have a good exchange rate or a bad exchange rate depending on where you are in the world. And survey hosts frequently want to know things about people in their country. So I get access to a lot of psychological surveys made by universities in Australia who are interested in Australians. So for example, after filling out this, I used to get around 7-8 Great British Pounds an hour, and now I get a lot of access to surveys that pay about 10 or 11 Great British Pounds an hour, which for me is a big difference. I'll show you my earnings just as a little proof. I've earned 152 Great British Pounds here, and I've submitted 130, but 144 has been the total amount that I've given. And so you can see there's about 14 that were rejected for various reasons, like being screened out, like I told you about before. I could have earned a lot more than this, but I do this occasionally because I earn money in other ways. I'm a professional visual effects artist in film, but because of the writer's strike, I'm actually on a break, and so I'm doing things on Fiverr and things like that. Here's a big tip that I don't see people talking about regularly enough, and it is surveys get filled out fast, and so you have to be ready. That's part of the game. People always say, oh, have Prolific, fill out your About You and you'll be good. No, You actually need to be ready to jump on quick and select the highest paying surveys. That's another tip. Surveys frequently come in batches of 2 or 3, and so it's your job to prioritize and choose which survey you think is worth your time. This can be tricky at times because sometimes shorter surveys, like 5 or 10-minute surveys, can be worth a lot more per hour than longer surveys, which are maybe an hour in length and are worth less per hour, but in total will actually give you more. So you can say my time is worth more money and choose the shorter survey and get more per hour. But I find a lot of the time when you do that, the longer survey will be gone when you come back, and you can't do 2 surveys at once. So it's all about choosing what you think is right. I have another tip. To keep on top of studies as they come, I recommend a few different things. This will depend on what you have access to. So one thing is using a second monitor and having the studies section up all day on your second monitor as you're at your computer doing other things to earn money. If you have a small business, if you're on other survey websites, etc., have this open on your other screen. You can also do split screen, especially if your screen is big enough. Make one half of your screen the prolific studies page and the other half whatever you're doing, watching YouTube, etc. But I have one other tip that might seriously help you, and it is to use a little Chrome add-on, and it's called Prolific Assistant. And what it does is it pops up with a notification every time there is a new survey. This has seriously saved me sometimes because it is quite a loud pop-up, so it really distracts you, especially if you're in the middle of doing something, you're hyper-focused. This is a great way for your computer to tell you it's time to stop and it's time to do a prolific survey. Prolific Assistant specifically can be hit or miss though. So for example, on good times, sometimes it even alerts me to studies slightly before they're actually available on the studies page. I've had this happen a few times where it has updated faster than Prolific has updated. So I've gotten a notification, gone to studies, it's not been there yet, and I've had to wait, and I've been one of the first applicants to do the survey. That's when Prolific Assistant is working well. Other times, it doesn't even notify me when there's a new survey at all. So don't rely on Prolific Assistant by itself. Use Prolific Assistant with another method and have it open on your second screen. Lastly, you can also turn on email notifications. You'll get a new email every single time there is a new prolific study. But keep in mind, these are emails, and emails sometimes get lost, they get put into spam, and you have to be checking your emails really regularly to get in fast enough. Because if you get a survey and it's been an hour, half an hour since you got the email, unless you're living on your email, it's usually not a good way to get real-time notifications that you need to go after now, immediately. I don't personally find the email notifications that useful. Sometimes, if you're in a niche survey, the survey can last for days or weeks and be waiting for you because it's not filling up because there is only a small amount of people, but usually surveys go fast. Another tip I have, the main point number 4, do your surveys carefully. This is something that I've seen people all over the internet have problems with, and I've talked to different people who have been permanently banned from Prolific. And this is because if you're not taking care, they can find ways to see if you're not reading or if you're not answering questions carefully enough so that you're giving them a high quality enough survey response to their survey provider. They do this via a few different mediums. We know for a fact they do this by setting little traps in your surveys. Throughout the surveys, they will have trick questions. You need to be on lookout for these trick questions. If you've got a multi-choice answer question where you're having to answer a bunch of different things, sometimes they'll say things like, choose strongly disagree so that we can see you're paying attention. Never go through and randomly click things. Another way that they can tell is if you give inconsistent answers. So sometimes they'll give you a question on one page and another question that's almost a repeat question on another page. And if you're only half paying attention, it's very easy to slightly change your mind and choose a differing opinion. This can be really bad because they can find out that you're giving null answers. You're randomly choosing or you're not paying attention, and they can screen you out of further surveys or ban your account. So take care. Lastly, and probably most importantly, do not rely on this being your only method for earning money online. The reason for that is that this can be inconsistent. For me, because I'm in Australia, I think Australia has a lot of good survey opportunities. I get a good amount of surveys every single day, but you won't necessarily get that. Some people report long periods of time without getting good survey opportunities, and also, you're not available to do surveys at every single minute. So what I recommend is following different hustle YouTube channels, is following money-making websites, and is possibly starting a business. You can do all of these different things while you're waiting for more prolific studies to come in. For example, have your prolific studies open and on a new window, watch a YouTube video about the best ways to earn money online and start writing down lists of other websites you're interested in trying. I'm currently in the process of finding other high quality survey websites like this and also other easy ways to make money online, specifically for people who are on the waiting list for prolific, who haven't been accepted yet, and who aren't getting enough surveys, because in between surveys, you want to be doing something and not squandering or wasting your time sitting here, definitely not watching random fun YouTube videos. Spend your time being productive, earning money on other websites while you wait for studies. So, how you should think about this is like a nice little break you get when a survey pops up from whatever you're doing, and what you're doing is also earning you money. Okay? So these are my main tips. If you have any other questions or you have tips, please leave them in the comments, because this is one of the things that I'm kind of interested in as like a personal hobby. I'd be interested to hear in other people's experiences, specifically what country you're from, and if you've been accepted to Prolific, and how much money you've made on Prolific, because I really want to get a good sample size and learn how long it takes to get accepted into Prolific from different countries. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helps you. I'm making these because I'm kind of in the same boat as a lot of people. I'm specifically out of work because of the writer's strike right now, and so I'm having to look for alternative ways to make money online in the meantime. So keep learning, keep studying. I'll do the same thing. I'll share it here. Please send me anything you have, because I'm always trying to make extra money online. I'm going to keep sharing things that I learn on my journey to keep me motivated, to keep earning more money and keep trying new things, because I think having a YouTube channel is a fun way to do that. I don't actually know if I'm ever going to earn any profit from this. I'm doing this more as a hobby. So see you all later.